Welcome in. Hail to the podcast brought to you by Maize Blue Review, part of the On3 network, covering. I thought I could get through clean. Nope. Covering Michigan athletics, of course, right now, the big time. Michigan football coming off a win, road trip, Big Ten opener, beats Nebraska. Game was a little bit of the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to break down all of it. Talk about Bryce Underwood, Justice Haynes, the receivers, the offensive line, the defense, the walking clip show that is Biff Poggi. We're gonna miss him. I think. I hope he continues to have a vocal role moving forward. But look, we'll get into it. I'm saying it's season 2 for Michigan, the bye week, and then it feels like we're heading into this next section. So we're going to talk about how the first 4 games went and what we think is next. And I can do that today with our publisher and insider, Mr. Maize Blue Review himself, Josh Henschke. Quick. You've gone into some stats a little bit. I don't know if you've done any rewatching, but in terms of reaction watching live, and then I think we all kind of have that, once the game's over and then maybe into the next day, how we feel. Do you feel different today than you did watching the game, or where are you just in terms of the experience of watching Michigan's win over Nebraska?
Yeah, I don't think anything's changed for me. I thought that was a good win for that team, and a game that they really needed to have. They needed to have that one. And just the response, all things considered, not having Sharon Moore, what have you, I thought that response was really, really good. I mean, they faced adversity multiple times. That Hail Mary at the half, that might have killed older, Michigan teams in the past. That might have absolutely destroyed them. But I think the response
destroyed me. I was pissed.
I think, when you think about how young this team is, and they are young, I think the response to everything, the loss to Oklahoma leading up to now, I think they're right where they need to be in terms of building this into, a pretty good season. I mean, USC is going to be a big test here in a couple of weeks, but I feel like it's a good win. You could consider Nebraska at least a fringe, if not a top 25 program right now. With the way they play, particularly on offense. So, I mean, of course, there's things to talk about in terms of bad and what we didn't like and things to clean up. But, we've said this so many times, like the amount of times that, there's bad and stuff to clean up, during a win is a lot easier to navigate than after a loss. And now that Michigan's heading, excuse me, wow. I might be dying. Excuse me. You're gonna have to take over for a second.
All right. Let me know when you're good. Hope you're all right. I thought it was a good win. I have this moment too where, like, my friend, you look rough. Thanks, wow. Jason. It was a rough day. I just got back like a little bit ago. It's been a long day. Not rough, like bad thing. It's been a busy day. But thanks, Jason.
Wow, you look like crap.
Yeah, I always love it. My wife always does that when I'm like, "Hey, you all right?" She's like, "I'm like, oh, you just look tired." She's like, "Okay, I look like shit." I'm like, "No, you just look tired."
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I thought it was a good win, and like we obviously partake in some in-game posting on our message board, and there's another place where I take part in some in-game posting, and I always have to remind myself, like, that is the most nonsensical place to watch a game. People just have the most ridiculous reactions, and there's this revisionist history too, where it's like, man, Harbaugh, but guys, we were frustrated almost every single game during the Harbaugh era because the way that they won, right, was running the ball, wearing a team down, playing defense, and just not making mistakes. It was boring. It was clean, but in the fourth quarter, they were going to win the game. And then afterwards, we'd be like, oh, man, they really dominated them. And then these EPA plays would come up, and it's like, oh, wow, they actually really, really won by a lot. This right now, obviously, Michigan's working through some things. They have a freshman quarterback, and there's some mistakes that get made, and like it's frustrating because the game was closer than it needed to be.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think that's a big takeaway was they were a lot better than Nebraska, better than 3 points. Right. But then you look at it and you go, okay, the Hail Mary, coaches never should have let that happen.
Right.
The field goal that came from, they had them on, what was it, 4th and, I don't remember, 18 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the Brandon Hillman taunt penalty. That's an automatic first down.
Yeah.
Dumb of him to do it, but also dumb call. Like, can I say both sides of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just stupid. Yeah. They get points from that. And then the last drive where Dotson's playing corner and, you know, whatever. I mean, you could attribute 17 of their 27 points to kind of fluky situations, right? And I know there's always the if, then, whatever, but it just is what it is. In the end of the day, though, at the beginning of the year, I feel like we were pretty consistent on this. We knew Michigan was going to be out without Sharon Moore for these 2 games, Central and Nebraska. We knew they'd be starting a freshman quarterback. We knew there'd be new starters on the offensive line trying to figure it out. And we knew on the defensive side there would be depth, yes, but we still needed to find who the top performers were going to be because you're not replacing Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant out the gate, right? If they could get through the 4 games and get into the bye 3-1, we would be happy. That was a pretty consistent theme, I felt like, with all of our, you know, off-season conversation. Here we are. They're 3-1. They are 1-0 in the Big Ten because they beat Nebraska. They go into these next 5 games. Everything's in front of them, the Big Ten championship, potential playoff berth, etc. And honestly, that Oklahoma loss is looking better every single week. Not only because Oklahoma's a top 10 team now, they had 10 sacks against Auburn. So our biggest concern, Michigan's offensive line against their defensive line, maybe Oklahoma's just really good. And Brent Venables now has an OC he trusts, and he's more focused on his defense. It's like, hey, 3-1 with a loss to a top 10 team, win on the road, Big Ten opponent. I think they're in a really good spot. And we'll break down position by position what's been good and maybe what still needs to be worked on. But like, I'm struggling to be anything but stoked about where Michigan is right now. Sharon Moore's coming back. Time to reset. 3-1, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, it's hard to you know, say what you will about the Oklahoma game, but I feel like there's been some, I wouldn't say significant improvements, but there's been some good strides made from week 2 to week 4. And, you know, when you lose that early in the season, we don't know what that loss really looks like yet. But what really matters is how you lose, or excuse me, how you look after that loss. And they've looked light years ahead of where they were against Oklahoma. And the thing is, too, it's like that Oklahoma game, Michigan had plenty of chances to win that game, too. So it's not like Oklahoma came in there and just totally kicked their ass. I mean,
no, Oklahoma was begging Michigan to take over.
Right, exactly. Michigan had chances to win, and they didn't capitalize. And also credit goes to Oklahoma as well. You know, their defense is.
Real quick, Lauren. I said he was happy with his. I meant to say he was happy with his OC. I thought that's what I said. Yeah. On Venables, so that's why he could focus on DC. That's what I meant.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. So yeah, that's again that and you know the Oklahoma stuff is in the past, and that's revisionist history here. And obviously there's no strength.
They were really candid about what went wrong and what they learned, and I mean especially Biff, obviously.
Right.
So maybe it turns out to be a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe this was that was the humbling that they needed, or a wake-up call to be like, hey, we got to get this thing fixed, and especially because not having Sharon. But I think the response from Oklahoma onwards has been really good, with room to improve too, which is good. I just don't see anything wrong. I mean, yeah, there's I guess levels of concern, you know, some more than others, you know, like a higher in terms of immediate stuff to fix. But I mean, what team is perfect this, you know, 4 games into the year? I mean, this is why these coaches get paid, is to identify these issues and fix them. And if they don't, they no longer have jobs after the year. So, yeah, I mean, I think the bye week is coming at a really, really good time for this program too. I mean, they couldn't have just where they're at with injuries and guys being banged up, close to coming back, but just not quite.
Right.
I think this week off could not have come at a better time for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously really disappointed to not see Hogan Hansen on the field.
Yeah.
I think Hansen, and we're obviously going to talk about the domino effect of the Barham move to edge. I think Hansen coming on the field and being able to play significant snaps means Marlon Klein is more dedicated to his inline role where he's best at because he's a better blocker and he can go down the seam, the flat, whatever. Hansen's going to spend more time in the slot, which Chip Lindsey, when it comes to play calling and just route design and stuff, prefers a tight end in the slot. We talked a lot about that this offseason, how both Michigan and Chip Lindsey pretty consistently have a tight end as like the number 2 receiver on the team. And Hansen's that guy. So getting him healthy also means Samaj. I love how they're using Samaj. I hate the term gadget player because I feel like that minimizes him, but like Samaj has a pretty clear role in terms of the screens and the things the shorter passes that they use it for. I know we had the one deep touchdown, but still, I think he gets to be a little bit right now. Maybe they're overusing him because they don't have Hansen in the slot, and Donovan McCulley, I think, gets to play more of the true X receiver on the left side, like intended, because he doesn't have to fill the void of Hansen. Right. So I think you could see a trickle that really impacts the wide receiver group. And again, we'll get into the bigger issue I think that exists with wide receivers, but getting him back healthy. On the offensive line, El Hadi coming back, I think, is a huge deal, right? Yep. Defensively, we saw Rod Moore back, him getting up to speed and how that can limit some reps. So I'm with you. And just in terms of resetting the team, I talked about this last week going into the Nebraska game a little bit. I think it's very true now because there's an actual bye. The reset that this team went through before Northwestern last year in terms of calibrating their identity and, look, this is our last home game. We're not going out like this, blow out Northwestern. We're here to beat Ohio State. Like, we're going to beat Ohio State. They win the bowl game, whatever. I think we could see that kind of reset now with Sharon coming back. And then also just, look, Bryce got the experience he needed without, other than that one interception against Central, not too many crazy freshman mistakes. I think you figured out some things on the offensive line. You figured out some things on defense. Like, I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to complain about, I guess. But I think the positives right now are far more outweighing the negative from where they were from Oklahoma. And that's really all you can ask for at this point, is just consistent, tangible improvement from one week to the next. And we've seen that, Wisconsin 2 weeks from now. I don't know how much of a measuring stick that's going to be because Wisconsin is really bad.
I don't know if there's any more obvious. This is why I always tell people with coaching hires, and I hate the term home run hire. Was there anybody that didn't think Luke Fickell to Wisconsin was a great hire and a perfect fit?
Yeah, it was until they decided to go air raid.
I know he hires the air raid OC and they're trying to fix. But I'm just saying on paper, like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I can't believe.
I forget where someone mentioned it. I think it was during one of our game threads. They said that Luke Fickell is their Rich Rod, and I agree with that, because
it's a good.
You come in and try to breathe new life into a program that very much like Michigan is, built in the trenches and in the run game. God, and then you totally flip it and try to go air raid where, with Rich Rod's case, you go from a pro style offense and try to use a spread offense with pro style players. It's like, it's just not going to work. So yeah, with like that kind of, I feel like that was really his biggest mistake he made, was trying to go air raid with a program that does not do air raid.
Don't go full Rich Rod.
Yeah.
Go full Rich.
Yeah.
Ryan Mallett ends up transferring out, and
yeah.
I don't
had the talent. The talent was there for someone to come in and take over and do well and build off that. And
the program wins 9-10 games every single year. Right. And they breed freaking clone these offensive linemen in the fields. Like, you don't have to recruit. They'll come to you.
Right.
Running backs, because you've had, back to Ron Dane, this pedigree of running backs. You're going to get good running backs. Like, just, especially when you're a more regional program, you have to lean your identity into what's in your backyard. I think that's what I used to love about college football back in the day, right? Was like, every school was very tied to their area, right? Because that's where they largely recruited. And you could pick out kids nationally a little bit, but you were largely tied to your area. And some schools still are. And I think you have to respect that, But anyway, let's get into the good, the bad, maybe some of the ugly. We'll start with Bryce because, of course, I felt this way watching it. I've seen some folks like over at the Cover 3 podcast and some other places say the same thing. Watching the game, it felt like Bryce was, again, poised and controlled, doing really well, had a good game. It felt like Dylan Raiola was like constantly running around, making like really interesting, tough, bad decisions and like some of the underhand throws and getting sacked a ton and trying to fight his way back into the game. And then I look at the stats, and Underwood's 12 of 22 for 105 yards, and Dylan's 30 of 41, 308, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Obviously had the one interception, but and I think this is the big narrative and what we're all kind of trying to dig deep into right now is like, I know the numbers haven't been great, especially on the 2 road games, but Bryce has still not looked like a freshman quarterback to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think finding the running elements, that designed run. Oh my God. Our friend over at the Wolverine on 3, Anthony Broom, said that they had announced the touchdown like when he was at the 10-yard line. The PA announcer. So Jason touched on it. I know you wrote an article about it. This is going to tie into it with the receivers. The drops have been tough. And then play action, as good as the offensive line has been and the steps they've taken, we'll get into it. Under play action, he's just turning around and there's pressure there.
Yeah. And
I think being able to execute play action is really going to take the offense to the next level. But your thoughts on Bryce? And through 4 games and in this game in particular, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Oh, pause. I'm sorry. Pause. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
Mini Mahomes. David brings it up, the new Mahomes. I'm so glad CBS called him out on this.
Yeah. Yes.
Because he said, I just want to be my own man and be known for the name on the back of my jersey. And, I can't help. I look like him and I get sick of these comparisons. One, they show the graphic.
Right.
Flipping through the photos, showing all the different times. And then the announcers come back and they're like, yeah, I mean, you didn't have to get that haircut. You wear his number,
Yeah.
Oh, and you mimic his entire pregame routine.
Right.
And hand gestures and the jewelry. And like, dude, I don't know what's worse, that he is like trying so hard to mimic the headband too. Yes. Thank you, David. He's trying so hard to mimic everything Mahomes does, or he acts like we're stupid and he's not doing that.
Right.
It drives me nuts. I'm sorry. Like,
and the thing is,
you stop comparing me to him, bro.
The thing is too, like, yeah, it's cringy as hell what he's doing, but he's a good quarterback. He doesn't need to do this.
Right.
Like, be your own person, dude. You don't have to cosplay as some.
But honestly, even if you said like, oh yeah, I'm modeling my game after the best quarterback in the NFL right now, the guy you thought might be the next, like, own it at least. If you're gonna do it, own it. Don't act like we're crazy.
Like, everyone has an idol or who they try to replicate their game after. But it's one thing to try to replicate areas of your game and then trying to replicate
to emulate stars. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And there's one thing to take elements from what you've seen from people that you idolize. And there's another one from just completely mimicking the person's, just mannerisms,
yes,
and all that kind of stuff. That's a different level of that's weird. Like emulating a player that you like is normal. That's what people do. Like good players try to take what good players do and implement it in their own game. Good players don't try to copy people's mannerisms when they're in the huddle or whatever. So it's weird. It's weird. Like I think his offensive line did him zero favors in the game yesterday. I thought he played as well as he possibly could.
36 pressures.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan just
36.
whooped them. I mean, we talked about it. In order to win this game, you got to win in the trenches. And that goes for pretty much 95% of all games. If you win in the trenches, you're going to win. And Michigan won in both trenches, offense and defense. They won, and you saw the results. Yeah, I mean, they made it a really tough day, but we just totally got away from talking about Underwood now to talk.
Yes, that was my fault.
Yeah, as far as Bryce, I mean, what outside of having more yards or more completions where his receivers can help him out, he's been fine. I think he's been good. I just think him being able to read, when to run or when to get out of the pocket, I think that's kind of been a revelation for his game. Sometimes out of necessity, as you've said, the offensive line isn't perfect, and they are allowing pressures and things to leak out a little bit, but that's fine. But I think, yeah, the lack of panic that you see Underwood have, even when it was bad against Oklahoma, there wasn't any panic. Yeah, there's probably a little bit of being flustered, but I think being flustered and being panicked are two totally different situations as a quarterback. But
I really like how not satisfied he is.
Yeah,
I thought that interview after the game on the field was incredibly mature.
Yeah, I mean, that's been
celebrate the win at all. He's like, yeah, we got work to do.
Yeah, that's been the talking point with him, since high school. It's just the kid's just kind of wise beyond his years and is never rattled and is never shaken. And you hear this stuff constantly, through media stuff and talking to people, and then you kind of like you get to the point where you're like, all right, yeah, and then you kind of don't see it. But everything that the coaches have said about Bryce has happened, or he's showed it. He showed the leadership. He hasn't made the same mistake twice. He didn't, he didn't make that one pick he threw. I mean, I can see where he was going with it. Needed to have better, body positioning on that throw. But again, didn't make that same mistake twice. Had a bad throw earlier in the game against Nebraska, and then rebounded and learned. So yeah, I think a lot of the things that you've been hearing about him, whether you are sick of hearing about them or not, I think they're all true and accurate. And 4 games into the year, I guess if you wanted to see Michigan's passing game, I mean, they're light years of where they were last year.
Yes.
By default. I mean, like just night and day, not even close. Would you like it to see it evolve a little bit more? Yes. But at the same time, I'd like to see his receivers do him a little bit more favors. I think there are some passes that maybe, aren't catchable or whatever. But if you're throwing it to a receiver and it hits him in the hands, chest, body, whatever, if it's in the catch radius and you drop it, that's not on Underwood. That's not on the offensive line. That's on the receivers. You got to catch the ball.
Yeah, at this level, it hits your hands, man.
I'm really curious I don't even know how you can't even quantify it, but I'm really curious how you'd quantify the lost yardage on all of those drop passes.
I can quantify it.
I mean, probably hundreds of yards.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll figure it out.
I mean, a couple of them were like first downs, guys falling down. So that's probably chunks of 10, 15 yards or whatever. But the one on Samaj that he dropped, he had acreage to run. So I'm really curious, how far, I posted today on the website a story about like drop rate percentage and how bad it's been. But I'm really curious how far it is set Michigan's offense back in regards to the passing game. Obviously, the running game is working, and that's been their bread and butter. But I really, I guess the narrative, how would flip if some of those drops?
And there's going to be some drops, right? Like, let's not pretend
Right.
everybody deals with drops.
Right. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Channing has 4, and I'd argue it should be 5. And
Right.
Samaj has 4.
Yep.
And that's your top 2, other than McCulley, obviously, 2 of your top targets. Klein has a drop, McCulley has a drop. Like, there's a lot. But like,
McCulley had 0 drops.
huh?
McCulley had 0 drops.
Okay,
He is tied for first in the country with 0 drops.
Okay, I thought there was 1, but
Klein has 1. McCulley is. Yo, no, I'm sorry. Goodwin is 4, and Samaj is 4. Fred Moore has 1. Fred Moore has 1.
30. Sorry, trying to do math, which is great for a podcast, right?
Yeah, dead air is really good.
My bad. 36. Okay. So roughly another 130 yards in passing. 3 of them have come on the medium depth, 6 have come on short. That's a low estimate because we have no idea what the yak yardage would be.
Right.
Yeah. So and the thing too that like kills me is like Channing Goodwin. People keep saying like, oh, why is Goodwin out there? Goodwin is probably the best. Him and McCulley are close. Goodwin's a really good blocking wide receiver. And before you get pissed because you don't care about the blocking, hold on. He is easily the best route runner. Goodwin is like, it's crazy for a redshirt freshman how far ahead he is. He's a great route runner.
Yeah.
Great. Yep. He gets separation. You know why he has a lot of targets? Because he's open.
Mm-hmm.
He gets separation. He is like 6'2", 205, dude. That is prototypical. Great size build at the Z route.
Yep.
He's quick out of his burst off the line, and he's fast. He has big play potential. He's dropping the ball, which is so frustrating because it's like you are good at everything else. And, you know, he started the season as the starter over Moore. Like, I assumed Fred Moore was going to be out there, and Goodwin was just earning it, man. He earned it. And I think Andrew Marsh is going to continue to cut in and get reps. Andrew Marsh has the higher ceiling. I think he probably has better ball tracking skills. That touchdown that Goodwin didn't catch, the over the shoulder, Marsh had a similar play on the sideline against Central that went like 30 yards that he caught. And that was what I was thinking. I was like, Marsh probably would have caught that.
Yeah.
Marsh is still just a little raw right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not as good of a route runner as Goodwin is. Probably not as good of a blocker. So, like, God, if you could put those two together into one player, right? But one of those two has to really emerge as a consistent threat. Samaj should not be your wide receiver too. Right? And that's not a knock on Samaj. It's just the way I think the offense should flow and fit. And then I think you see more, like I said earlier, I think you see more McCulley in the correct role with better receiver catching and better, tight end play, assuming Hansen gets back healthy. So,
yeah, I wanted to point this comment out by Brian because I think it's a good comment and it's extremely accurate. Bryce was getting the check with me doing protection checks at the line, then getting the snap with 1 second on the play clock in a loud stadium, no timeouts, no delays of game. He did that for the most part in Oklahoma too. I mean, he's like there for how much the offense has struggled a bit in various areas of execution. For the most part, where it matters, the real execution, the discipline and things like that have had its up and down moments. But I think that part of it is been pretty good, with a freshman quarterback and new faces on the offensive line practically every week at this point. I think that part has been really good. Just the technical execution part, the stuff that you can avoid pre-snap, I think it's been pretty good. So, and a lot of that goes back to Bryce just having that understanding and that grasp. So, but yeah, back to the wide receiver thing. I see a couple of comments here saying that.
Sorry, I'm just laughing. Somebody made their name Circuit City Secret Shopper.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway, ahead. Sorry.
I know that there's a couple of people that I saw in the comments, a couple of people saying that it's Bellamy's fault, but I don't know. I'm not ready to blame Bellamy for guys dropping balls. I think like that's just on the player at that point. Like it's not like Bellamy's out there trying to catch it. Like he's getting these guys on the jug machine after practice and all that kind of stuff. So it's like I don't think it's a coaching issue. I just think it's just something that's this happening with Samaj and Channing just not taking advantage of situations. I just don't know what more you can do from a coaching standpoint other than, okay, this is what the look like on the pass. Like I don't think Bellamy is telling Channing Goodwin to alligator arm that dime that Bryce threw to him that would have been 6. I don't think Ron's actually telling him to go, all right, keep your arm short there and let the ball go past your hands. It's sometimes it's just the player not relying on their fundamentals. And I said the same thing yesterday during the Hail Mary. Like it was just players. The players let the staff let the players down equally as much as the players let the staff down in the execution. There's no excuse for the players to not have someone stand in front of the group and bat the ball down. But I'm not ready to, as much as Bellamy has brought in talent. I mean, the Michigan hasn't been producing high drafted NFL wide receiver talent.
Me and a couple of friends kind of laughed because we were looking back on this, and while like Gaddis was coaching receivers as OC and Fish was too, do you know Ron Bellamy in 2022 was the first time in the Jim Harbaugh era that a coach on staff had wide receiver coach in their title?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Yeah. Look, I don't like calling for anyone's job. I've never been super comfortable with that. I will push back a little bit though. And like, yeah, you're right. Like he didn't tell the players to do that, but like that is your job though.
Oh, for
right?
Sure. No, absolutely.
If it doesn't get better, that's where I start to go, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, it's not like the recruiting's been bad. Like we were really excited about the Darius Clemens and Amorian Walkers and the Samajes and Fred Moore and Carmelo English, which that's a different story. That's probably not fair to bring up. Whatever. Mm-hmm. I hate doing this, but this clip has stuck with me forever. I don't remember what game it was. It doesn't matter, but they talked about Brian Hartline at Ohio State, and they showed during a practice where a receiver is making kind of a double move, and he goes to cut out before he goes up the sideline, and he comes up to him and goes, "Hey, you have to put your hand on the DB's hip, just barely touch his hip and pretend you're pushing off, because if he feels your hand, he's going to bite on that twice as hard." And it's such a tiny little detail in this route about, hey, put your hand on his hip, cut, and then go up. And then during the game, this was a while ago, it might've been Chris Olave, I don't know which receiver it was, he does it. And he just barely touches his hip, and the DB like basically runs off the sideline, and he goes wide open down. And that level of detail takes receivers to another level, right? And if we're still talking about catching with your hands, it's like I want to see those things get coached out, because to be able to, again, I've said this complaint coming into the year when it came to the OC and receivers getting open. Somebody brought up, Syracuse has better receivers. I can watch Syracuse. Indiana's a really good football team. Surratt is legit, right? Yeah, but like, I can watch any college football game on Saturday and receivers get open and have their hands and catch it around. Like it's just not, it shouldn't be this hard.
Right. But at what point, and I totally agree. I mean, that's like basic coaching 101, like catch the ball. But at what point, if and I'm not saying you're doing this, but like at what point do we, blame the coaching staff for not developing? Do the players not get blamed for not doing their jobs too. Like at what point do you say, well, okay, they're getting coached, but it's just the players, screwed up. Like it's the players' fault too. So I think, there's both. I think there's,
like Lawrence says, look, Bellamy gets to take credit for Roman Wilson's final year. Ronnie Bell, like I get it. I agree. Yeah. But like there were inconsistencies there too,
Right. I think there's equal blame to go around, and I don't think the players in this situation you can shield the players simply just by saying, oh, Bellamy's got to coach him better. Like, yeah, Bellamy can spend all of next week just telling them to every day, tell them to catch the ball. And, that's fine. But if they don't go out there, the players don't go out there and do it, like, I guess, yes, in a way, that's an indictment on how it's being translated, but it's also the players not doing their jobs. So I don't think the issue is the drop issue is like a root cause that cannot be fixed.
Exactly.
I think it needs to be. I think, as I said earlier, the bye week is coming at a really, really good time where you can focus on a 1 week of just, hey, we need to iron this catching down. We need to, whatever is happening, whatever you're doing, whatever, like the same thing with Zavada too. Like whatever you're doing to push kicks wide, you're striking well. You're, in the case of wide receivers, you're getting open. The plays are there. You just need to execute. And I don't know what that looks like in practice or how you do that. But I think, this week could probably be a really good week to kind of just, they've said go back to the basics all year. I think they need to go back to Pee Wee football level basics if that's what they need to do in order to fix this. But I mean, it's the thing is the bad thing. The stats are bad. I mean, the rankings are really bad for Goodwin and Samaj. They are like the worst in the country in drops, and that's no exaggeration. That's fact. But it's fixable. That's the good news, is that this can be fixed. We just don't know if it can. And if it doesn't get fixed, then you kind of have to start thinking about what Bellamy and Soup Campbell as well, what's happening in practice for this disconnect to happen. So, I mean, there's no, like, again, and then it goes back to, there's no excuse for a guy like Samaj to drop passes and drop a screen pass like he did. He's a guy with experience. He's been in football a couple of times. So, it's I don't think anyone's free of blame in that kind of situation, but I don't think one side should be shielded from the other either. So, all
right, we got to speed up. We're 37 minutes in and we've talked about two things. So, you made the point about last year, and I know some people get annoyed by this, but like we've talked about, with better QB play and whatever, they're arguably a playoff team last year. Like today, they're better off than they were last year. The receivers are getting separation. The play calling is significantly better. There was the one play where Goodman and McCulley are in the exact same spot on the sideline. Obviously, you don't like seeing that. They're better off at this point than they were last year. I can see the progress. I love that they're not over-rotating the position. No offense to Peyton O'Leary and some of these other guys, but they're playing their dudes and they're giving them their chances, right? So I think it's heading the right direction. Look, Justice Haynes is a beast. We talked about it all offseason. I don't know if there's anything shocking there. I love patting myself on the back, so I apologize. I tried telling you guys. Like, I did 3 by the numbers pieces. I showed the clips. There are Bama fans coping hard on Twitter. I responded to one. I normally don't respond, but I responded to one of them because he was like, he's not that physical, but yeah, he does a good job when there's good blocking of hitting a hole. What? I forgive you if you haven't been watching him running over dudes this year. Here's a clip of him doing it at Alabama. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, happy for Jordan Marshall to see him get some good runs the last couple games. He's obviously starting to click. That duo is legit. Bryce running is awesome, and I feel good about Parker being there. You got like something quick on that. I don't think there's anything earth shattering about how good the running backs are, but
right. Yeah, like as you said, I mean, the proof is there. I think the more Marshall is gets those chunk yardage, those explosive plays, the easier it's going to be on everyone else as well, too. I mean, the less tread wear on Justice Haynes, the better. I mean, that also allows Bryce to run more too, and just it forces defenses to be more honest when there's 3 different threats out there at any given time that can break a big run. So credit to the offensive line too for making those runs happen. I mean, that Greg Crippen block to spring Justice Haynes for his first touchdown was huge, and they've made some big strides there. And I was really critical about the offensive line after the Oklahoma game, and I think it was deserved, but I give them credit, I give Grant Newsome credit and the room credit for addressing stuff that needed to be fixed, and they're actively working towards it too.
Right before that Marshall touchdown on that drive in a group chat I was in, I was like, they need to get Marshall carries now because the offensive line has been wearing down the defensive line, and Haynes has been going outside a little bit more. Run Marshall between the tackles. I think there's an opportunity for him to exploit, and he had the big run first and then the touchdown right after. And again, patting myself on the back, but that also shows the coaching staff knows exactly what's happening on the field and how to best utilize the talents of those 2 players.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a boxing analogy, whatever it needs to be, like you've had Haynes running over you and then all of a sudden Marshall comes in and hits you in the mouth, dude, like such an awesome duo. And you've got Underwood's legs, still the ability to scramble. I like where that's going, but I'm with you. Offensive line. I believe, let's start with it. The people, you're right. If I'm going to call people out for where they struggle and don't do things, then major props when they prove me wrong. Greg Crippen had the best game of his career yesterday, if you ask me.
Agreed.
I kept talking about, guys, find work, get to the second level. What Olu was so good at was moving a dude to make Zach Zinter's job easier and then taking out a linebacker, right? And on both the Haynes and the Marshall touchdown, huge chip, second level, big hole.
Yep.
Just awesome work by him and tons of plays throughout. He really took a big step up. So absolutely stoked with Crippen's play. I think part of that comes with the dudes on your shoulders, man. Jake Guarnera has been awesome.
Yeah.
I don't like guys losing their jobs because of injury. I don't know how you put Brady Norton back at right guard. I think Jake Guarnera has won that job.
Yeah, you can't go back. I mean, El Hadi has his job at left guard. I mean, that he has that job. And I am very much looking forward to seeing what that line looks like with El Hadi back in the picture.
Big Crippen. That's pretty big Crippen stuff. That's pretty good.
I'm really curious to see what this line looks like with Guarnera in and El Hadi in. But
yes. I think that's the best group. That's your top 5. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And what a revelation that Jake Guarnera is, because I would not have said at the beginning of the year that he would see significant snaps this season, because I was fully convinced that he was going to be the starting center next year.
Which I still think he will be.
Yeah, and he very well could be.
I think he moves back to center next year. Yeah,
man, he's making an argument for guard. I mean, good for him though, man. Like it's just another example of what scouting does for you, and not to get too caught up on recruiting rankings and star ratings and all that stuff. And you sometimes kind of have to let things play out a little bit before you have a reaction of, some guys, you take a low 3-star and he plays like a low 3-star and you never see him. But some guys take that extra step, and Guarnera 2 weeks in a row now has acquitted himself really well. And if that continues, he's not going to lose that job to anyone else. So I think Michigan is getting some really good contributions all over the place from young players. I've seen people mention Jaden Sanders. Yeah, he's turning into a very, very important piece in the defensive backs. And he was a guy I was thinking about the wrong defensive back the whole time. I mean, granted, Earls was hurt to begin the year, so he didn't see time, but talk about a dude that takes advantage of a situation. And I mean, man, Sanders, he's a summer enrollee too. I mean, these young guys, most of these young guys like Dotson, Earls were December enrollees too. So you got a guy that just came in and just beat out guys that were there for 6 months. So it's really impressive. Man, bodes. So that defense is going to be, it's going to look really good here in a couple of years.
Yeah, we got some stuff on that we can definitely talk about. Derek, Guanera El Hadi sounds like a strong mixed drink. I like that. Yeah, I'll take a Guanera El Hadi. Yeah, I like where the O-line's heading. I would assume if El Hadi is good to go, that I would think it's going to be Link, El Hadi, Crippen, Guanera, and Sprague. Sprague still has his mistakes here and there. He's getting better every week. That dude's going to be all Big Ten in his career here. And Link is never as bad as everybody says. I still think it's well enough. And I don't think Babs would have won the job out of camp. I do think he would have pushed him. And I wonder if Frazier, starting with this bye week, starts to maybe push Link at that left tackle spot. We'll see. I like Natophobia a lot, but I've been surprised by on some of the pin and pulls, just the lack of athleticism, getting outside.
Yeah, especially when that was his big talking point.
Exactly. Yeah.
We were excited about what his athleticism brings, and you just haven't really.
And you know what? Sometimes it's just about fit. Because remember, he played primarily right guard all off season, right? And now you're asking him to go back over there, and maybe it's just not the right formula, right? Sometimes your best 5 guys, a guy might be better with another group than he is with this, whatever. But I like where it's heading, and everybody has mentioned it in here as well. I agree. Like 20, we knew they were a year away, right? Because 26, Link's not your left tackle. It's Babs or Frazier. Does he move to left guard? Maybe, but you've got Blake Frazier again could play guard, and Ty Haywood is probably ending up at guard because Sprague's not moving away from the tackle spot. Avery Gatch is ready to go as well.
Like, it's just gonna be so good. I'm telling you
right. So like I'm trying not to look too ahead because we're in this year, but like if the future's not there and the future's really, really close anyway, I've already said this before, if it's 60-40, go with the future. That's just kind of my opinion. But
if they can expedite the future as fast as they can, I'm all for it. And they pretty much have with at least with Guanera and Sanders too, if you want to do defense too. But
I was gonna say, yeah, let's talk about it with defense because it is happening on defense, right? You didn't really have a choice at corner because in that first week, Shamari Earls face plants literally, and Caleb Anderson is hurt. So that's your theoretical CB3 and CB4 right out the gate. So Sanders gets some opportunity because of that. He's probably CB5 or 6 at that point. And then Zeke Berry gets hurt. And all of a sudden, Jaden Sanders gets to the point where he played every single snap, I believe, against Nebraska.
70, I think he played 73 snaps.
Well, but he wasn't on that last drive, though, was he?
I'm not so. No.
Okay, I'm not going to say he played every snap because I'm not 100% sure. But
pretty dang close.
72 of 75.
Yeah.
All but 3. Him and TJ Metcalf, which again,
that's a big ass.
Brandon Hillman was 67. That's where everybody keeps asking me, like, Rod Moore's fit, and he played 21.
Yeah.
Mason Curtis. I didn't even notice Curtis got back out there for 12 snaps.
Right.
I think both Moore and Curtis playing more isn't about starting. It's about TJ Metcalf and Brandon Hillman not playing every snap. Right. Mm-hmm. But Jaden Sanders plays 72 snaps. He's the 3rd highest graded defender in that game. He's 3rd for tackle. Mm-hmm. He gets a number 1 grade in coverage. Targeted 6 times, gave up 4 receptions, but negative yak. The longest reception was 10, and he had a pass breakup. He lined up at corner. He lined up in the slot a few times. Like, again, this is the lower rated freshman. I do think Shamari Earls, I think it was a combination of hurt to maybe a little bit doghouse. So I think Earls' role will continue to grow. But all of a sudden, again, thinking about this bye week, and you're looking at that secondary and you're going, okay, Jaden Sanders has somebody we weren't accounting for early. Strong riser, great. Jair Hill's had some, tough moments, but obviously gave up the big touchdown there. But like overall, Hill, you get Barry back. Earls is coming along. Caleb Anderson maybe comes along at some point. Rod Moore can get in coverage. Hey, TJ Metcalf has been everything we thought TJ Metcalf could be. Jaden Mangham, again, maybe some mistakes out there, but he didn't play at all last year. Like, that's a group that we thought was deep in numbers. Let's see what happens when they get on the field. And I'm happy with where the secondary is and where I think they can go coming out of these next 2 weeks.
I like where this group is, and I think, not that you ever want to have injuries, but I think it's kind of similar to the Will Johnson situation last year, is that his injury allowed some guys to kind of bump their timeline up a little bit. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing with Sanders too. It's his timeline is quickly speeding up, and he's responding to that playing time too, because you see him like 10 yards off his receiver. You see so much cushion. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like you look and he's right up on a receiver and reacting like a veteran. It's you look at it, you're like, man, why is he so far? Why are they letting him so far off a receiver? But it's just so quick and he's like, bam, he's just all over the guy. He's all over a guy. So, and he tackles really well. He made a couple of really nice tackles to that would have been some pretty hefty yardage if they would have got loose. So, yeah, I mean, it may not reflect in turnovers, but I mean, you're stopping, you're shutting down drives, and the 300 yards passing. Again, that's another thing where I'd like to know how much of that was the broken play, the jailbreak type of guy thing, where he, Raiola is kind of manufacturing something out of nothing, trying to find a wide receiver.
Right.
Not exactly a blown coverage like the touchdown was. So, and having a guy like Zeke Berry back, and then sprinkling in Rod Moore a little more too, that will help you keep, those missed assignments or those blown coverages from happening, and get guys organized too. So, that'll help in the future. But yeah, Lamar Morgan he knows how to coach.
He's a great coach.
Knows how to develop them, man. And Sanders is only going to get better, and the same thing goes for Dotson too. I think there's a lot to, as a kid that we really weren't sure where he was going to fit in, if he was going to be a safety or a corner, moving a corner, and he's been playing some pretty decent amount of snaps too. So I think that speaks to the talent that they're identifying. They're really making their money's worth with the high 3-star, low 4-star type of guys, whether you agree that they're high 3-star, low 4 stars or not.
Right.
I think they're really, getting their money's worth, at least in this cycle, than before. So I think, yeah, I mean, man, what a positive for this defense that you have these younger guys that are being thrust into big roles and responding well. I mean, that only bodes well for the future, and bodes well for development of future young guys as well. So if they can keep that good mix of young guys and older guys in there, you can see a situation where it's just going to be a pipeline of dudes that just play, and you don't have to worry. You won't have those questions like, oh man, they've lost this guy, but this guy's here, but he hasn't played. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say that's a thing of the past, but the more younger talent that you have ready to go, I think the better off this program is going to be.
And I want to point out too, like with Hill, I thought his best play, I mean, he had a walk-in pick 6 yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he very Will Johnson-esque, where he's on the outside, his receiver runs a post, and then I think it was a tight end. Yeah, the tight end runs the out, right? And he immediately jumps the route.
Yep.
And it hits him in the chest, tips up, and there's Cole Sullivan, the team's interception leader. Cole Sullivan there grabs it with the one hand. But what I loved was Hill immediately turned around, saw Sullivan catch it, and just started clapping. Yeah. Right. And that was a moment where I thought about Hill's maturity and things like that we've discussed in the past. And in that moment, he just missed legitimately a walk-in pick six. And he's so stoked that Sullivan made the play. This is great for the team or whatever. And I'm like, okay, like recognizing the play, reacting to Raiola, coming off your guy, getting there to make the pick. And then even though you don't, you caused the interception and you're there celebrating because you know that, like, okay, the dude's taking that stride, right?
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
And look, we've been talking about Cole Sullivan for the last year, right?
Yeah.
But like in the offseason, like, hey, this is not just a breakout guy. Like I think Cole Sullivan's going to have a huge role. It's early, but if he's not the best or second, I would not say he's worse than the third best defensive player on this team right now. Stats wise, it's easy to argue the best with the limited snaps he's had because he has sacks, interceptions, tackles for loss, fumble recovery.
Special teams. Right? My God, he's everywhere.
Absolute monster. And it's like, God, we got to get this dude more reps. And then, man, this is a pat yourself on the back episode. You move Jaishawn Barham to edge.
Finally.
And look, I know they wanted to. They said in the offseason they were going to do it. And then it was like, yeah, well, he's not sure if he wants to. Maybe he'll be this like versatile, you know, whatever. And then TJ Guy and Derek Moore both come back. And you're like, well, we've got what we need at edge with Nichols and Cam Brandt coming up. Let's have Barham stay at linebacker, and we'll see, you know, what happens with Sullivan. And obviously Rolder's had some health issues. And then Jimmy Rolder's playing really, really well.
Oh, man. So happy
playing really well.
So happy.
Sullivan is an absolute rock star. And you decide Guy needs a day off. TJ Guy needs a day off. Okay, that's all we're going to say.
Yeah.
You put Jaishawn Barham on the edge, and what a shock. Your best pass rusher is really good at pass rushing off the edge. And it reminds me so much of the Zeke Berry move to corner, and Makari Page comes up to nickel, and Mason Curtis is that big free safety. Jaishawn Barham to edge. Nichols is getting less reps, but maybe that's okay. You're not calling too much. TJ Guy can go back to the role that he filled last year, which is still 30 snaps. Nebraska, 34 snaps, 4 pressures for TJ Guy. He's still really good in that role, rotating behind Barham, but Barham kind of fills the Josiah Stewart role a little bit better. Derek Moore all of a sudden has a great game. He's been off to a slow start. Rayshawn Benny has 2 great games in a row since you've moved Barham over. Trey Pierce was a dude. Trey Pierce was a dude yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like, great game, too. It's just a ripple effect.
Yeah, it's unreal. And now, you know, we got all this pushback from folks, and I'm like, look, I think the defensive front can arguably be better than last year as a total unit across all 60 games.
Yep.
I'm not telling you Mason Graham or Kenneth Grant are on this team. Mason Graham might be the best defensive lineman that's played at Michigan, guys. Like I understand how good he was, but I didn't like playing him 60 snaps.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Now, all of a sudden I can look at this and go, we just talked about like Sanders and Metcalf and these guys playing 70. It's like, ugh, right. Yeah. Barham 41, Brandt 40, Derek Moore 38, TJ Guy 34, Cole Sullivan 27. Keep going up, buddy.
Yep. Yeah, that could go into the 30.
Like 14 before. Keep going. Good. Yeah. Keep going up. Right. I didn't even mention Enoetta. Enoetta's a guy we've kind of picked on. Like, hey, is it ever going to happen? He looked great yesterday.
It's starting. Dom Nichols.
Yes.
That one chase down.
He only played 13 snaps because Barham cut into him a little bit. 3 pressures. And then he had a batted ball to it. No, that's Hurries. Okay. 3 pressures and 13 snaps. So now all of a sudden it's like, hey, this is the Michigan formula. Cool. Yep. So yeah, now that defensive front, that's only going to help the secondary. Houseman's still racking up tackles. Sullivan, Troy Bowles is still looking good when he plays. Another guy only played 7 snaps. He had 3 tackles in 7 snaps. And Owusu Boateng gets his redshirt year basically because he was a little undersized at linebacker. He's going to be at linebacker next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he'll get on the field in a little bit too. But like, just moving Barham made so much sense as it is. and I don't think I even fully anticipated. It just
not
helped almost every single position. It's crazy.
No, yeah, it's that trickle down effect of what happened after that move was I don't think anyone could have predicted that. I mean, it's the entire front has just been reinvigorated, and then that's gone and spread into the linebacker group, because now, I mean, you're not going to cut into Ernest Hausman's snaps, and he was fabulous. Yes, on Saturday he was fabulous. Now you've got Jimmy Rolder, a healthy Jimmy Rolder, who's an absolute stud when he's healthy. Yep. Sullivan is going to be a superstar, and then Troy Bowles. I mean, Troy Bowles could be the next best Michigan pass rusher that could play that Barham role. I'm convinced that he could play that role. I think Troy Bowles is that good. He's got the football knowledge, and when you let him loose, just rushing the passer, he's
230 pounds.
He's intense. So I would not be at all surprised if they kind of make him like a Barham, like, protege type of guy. But man, yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone could have predicted not only just Barham doing what he's done in 2 games, but the effect that it's had. Like, it's just gone from it's just like a mushroom cloud, where it's just gone and spread. It's really, credit goes to Espo and Wink again for identifying, maybe a little too late, but identifying.
They might have had to convince Jaishawn.
Well, no, a lot of that. No, you're totally right. A lot of that was convincing Barham to actually do it, because he wanted to be linebacker, and there was some convincing that needed to be done. So yeah.
I circled back with somebody who was very pro Barham making this move in terms of what his pro potential would be. And I asked him, hey, now that you've seen him obviously in person and then now making this move to edge, what do you think? And he's like, day 2, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's a first-round pick.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to make money on that edge, dude. And this is somebody who knows what they're talking about. Okay.
Right.
This isn't my buddy. Josiah Stewart probably could have crept into the first round. He got dinged a little bit on some combine stuff and some size stuff that, if you have seen Barham in person, I don't think will happen to him. So I'm just really excited to see a bye week of him practicing there and a few more games. And what is Jaishawn Barham on the edge going to look like against Ohio State?
Yeah.
At the end of the year, when he's played at that point most of the year at that position, dude.
Right. And you think about the numbers too. They showed on Saturday that it won't impact the numbers. It's not a numbers game where someone gets pushed out. I mean, it just is another body in there.
The guys that played less snaps than they have played better.
Yeah. Oh, go figure. Wow. Amazing how that happens.
Nichols had a great game. Etta had a great game. TJ Guy had a great game. Derek, yeah. I mean, it's
and you get Nate Marshall in there for about 10 snaps, which is decent for.
Yeah, that's probably the guy that loses the most.
Yeah,
I don't think I realized that till you just said that. That's the guy that loses the most.
Yeah, but at the same time, are they going to play him? Are they going to play him a full season's worth of games, or are they going to get him out there for his 4 and redshirt him? But again, when you're talking about a talented kid,
he's already played 4.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That is an interesting piece to watch.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to see whether that goes on
playing, or if they decide to put him at a red shirt. Because
if he, again, the red shirt
starting on the edge next year, there's no doubt.
Right. It's the red shirt discussion is if he's good enough, he's not going to use his.
You read my mind. He's not going to be here for 5 years anyway. You just read my mind.
Right.
That was my thing with Jordan Marshall. Whenever it's they saved the red shirt. He better not need it.
Yeah. It's a good safety blanket in case something disastrous happens. But it's good to have. But I just don't think he needs it.
While we're on this topic of, I can't think of the word now. what is it like? If you've said something about somebody and you're wrong and you apologize, it's anyway. I've been really hard on Brian John Marie and the coaching. There's just no way around it. Like the job he's done at linebacker. What do you say, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe recruiting hasn't been everything you want at linebacker, and I think there's reasons for that. We've talked about Michigan with kind of this NFL strategy. He didn't have the same NIL dollars initially that some of these other position groups did. Linebacker is something you can address a little easier in the portal. You know, he wasn't working with the same resources on the trail. Big thing about this bye week, too, is we're going to see that kind of fall reset with recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We've already seen some talk about Michigan still trying to get Abrams. If you flip Abrams from Georgia, you get a linebacker to leave Georgia. That's a coup.
Filth.
Dude, what Georgia has done with linebackers for the last 10 years. Like, we lost Raylan Wilson, Otis Reese, right? It's like, that's Georgia. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get a Georgia linebacker to flip, dude. Whew. So, I mean, even getting Bowles was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal, you know?
Yeah. I think
getting play a lot there. Dude, the 7th best linebacker at Georgia probably starts on a lot of teams.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
they dominate that position.
I think starting out and getting Owusu Boateng probably kind of skewed expectations a little bit compared to what they're getting in this class. But Chase Taylor has played more snaps than Owusu Boateng has, and he was like a 3-star guy, an early commit.
Boateng was hurt at the end of last year, too.
Right, true. But it's like the other guys are, it's like they know how to recruit. It's not like, getting 5-star talent is good, but you have to develop your guys too. And I think we're seeing a lot of that development happen quickly. I mean, Rolder looks like a totally different dude out there, and granted he had the unfortunate, streak of being consistently injured to no fault of his own. It was just freak stuff, but he just looks different. It just is totally his game is totally different.
I know this might sound cheesy, but like even being around like high school guys, I've learned like the gear that they wear like ties so much to their confidence, right?
Yeah.
And like the way Rolder looks with what he's wearing and how he's standing and his body language and how that translates to play, you can tell his confidence is skyrocketing.
Oh yeah, as it should.
That's impacted his play. I think I threw the comment up on the Jumbo for a little bit here. Somebody said he's the best coverage linebacker right now for Michigan. 1, I agree. And 2, he was an absolute liability when they put him in late against State.
Absolutely.
So props, dude.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That's a good shout out. He was a liability. He's come a long way. I mean, we'll see if that holds true as kind of more passing, like especially USC's passing attack, how that develops. But I mean, just from that alone, he's made some strides in that area.
Sure. And I think that's probably, I said this on a Twitter space last night, the one thing that, and I know a lot of people probably have other concerns more than I do, but the one thing that I've noticed in these 2 big games of Oklahoma and Nebraska, and I think this probably comes down to not having Rod Moore against Oklahoma and then him and Mason Curtis still being a little banged up in this game. Tight ends.
Yep.
I think with Michigan, what they're doing to create pressure has left them vulnerable and those are Nebraska has a really good tight end, Oklahoma as well. Like these are good players. But I'd like to see a healthy Curtis maybe in that big nickel role impact tight ends a little bit. And Rod Moore, even though he's not like a massive dude, has always been really good in coverage. So hit a couple questions. I don't know how to answer this. There's a couple dudes, I would say Brady Prescorn on offense and David Pale on defense, where like these guys still exist, but I can't get anybody to tell me where they are or what's going on. But
I don't know. That's I don't know that the Prescorn thing. I even hesitate to call it a weird situation, but it's like we don't even know what's going on, so I can't even call it a weird situation because we don't know what's going on in the first place. But he's not on any injury reports, and he was injured in getting back to. He was in return to play protocol during like the middle of camp, but haven't heard anything since. So
this isn't just a beat writer thing either. Like I spoke with Angelique, the queen, and she's put it out there too that like she's asked and she's getting crickets. Like I don't get it. And I saw him at the spring game walking around with Hanson and everything seemed fine. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
I feel like my mind just blanked. Okay, good. All right, so we're already at an hour 10. So just kind of put a bow on this here. Were you 10-2 prediction coming into the year? Yeah. So we were both 10-2. The game, you know, they're heading into this 5-game stretch now, which again, I think they're positioned really well.
Mm-hmm.
The road trip to USC, I've seen a few people mention it as well. That's one that I've always circled because regardless of how USC was playing, we know what the records are for teams crossing the multiple time zones. Like that's a tough slant. I think the stadium could be half Michigan fans. Like I think more Michigan grads live in LA than live in Ann Arbor at this point. Like there's a ton out there and people are going to travel and whatever, but we just know what exists there. 1 second, because my mind's drawing a blank here. You brought up Wisconsin already. Like what a mess. I would think Luke Fickell was destined to be fired. I did not realize this. He has a $25 million buyout.
It's huge.
What? Yeah. How did he end up with a $25 million buyout?
Yeah, so, I have no idea.
He might not be going anywhere. So you host Wisconsin, you travel to USC. I felt confident in the Washington game because it's at Michigan. So they have that same obstacle now where they have to travel. That being said, I don't know if there's a better quarterback, running back, wide receiver, like just top 3 at those positions. I don't know if there's a better, I mean, there probably is, but that's one of the best trios in college football, dude.
Talking about Washington?
Yes.
Yeah, they looked pretty good against Washington State.
And a running quarterback makes me nervous. That running back is in the same territory as Haynes. Jonah, right? Is it Jonah? I'm sorry, I'm exhausted today. But anyway, Washington starts to look like maybe that's a tougher game because of how well that offense is playing. You travel to MSU, you always know it's Michigan State, whatever.
Yeah.
I think they're actually a really good coach team. I think Aiden Childs has played well and Nick Marsh is legit. I just don't know if they have all the dudes yet.
Yeah.
But that's a team that's not a Michigan State team that like I feel comfortable like mocking or playing down like that. That looks like a well-coached team that cares. Now I feel bad because I can't think of his name. The player that was hurt last night. Shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, he traveled back home with the team.
Oh, that's good.
Good he news. Flew back on the plane and everything's good. And he's tweeted. So
good news.
Scary moment. I feel like every weekend we see those. I'm just sick of it. So it's good to see he's okay. But anyway, I mean, I still feel like Michigan wins that game. It's not what I'm saying. But and then you get Purdue. So
3-1. I think if Michigan gets through USC, it beats USC on the road. I think they run through that rest of that schedule.
Okay, that's fair. That's what I'm trying to look at. Like
that's USC,
Northwestern at Maryland and Ohio State. Like you'd love to have only one loss going into that game with Ohio State, but if you're 9-2 and think, hey, we're going to beat them for a 5th year in a row, and now you're 10-2 with a win over Ohio State, potentially way ahead of myself, but just saying like, and your only loss is to what appears to be a really good Oklahoma team. We'll have to see. Their SEC schedule is brutal.
Oh man, it's so brutal.
Yeah. But I'm with you. Like at this point, my expectations are still the same. I feel like it's 10-2, probably 9-3 if you lose that USC game.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So that USC is the next big one. Like this, Wayne Matthews. Thank you, Marcus. Yeah. Really bizarre. I couldn't even really tell. I only saw part of the clip. I don't know if his head hit a knee or somebody else, but just awful. He was down for a while and stretcher and whatever. So glad he's doing good. If there's I think you feel good about Wisconsin. You lose to USC and it's like, oh man, now that Washington game looks bigger and it's a rivalry game with Michigan State. It is what it is, you can't get to 8-4.
No. This team is way too good for 8-4.
Yeah, 8-4 is where because like this Nebraska game, I was talking with a bunch of different folks. It was so weird because in a way it felt like, at least up to this moment now, the biggest indictment on the Sherrone Moore era. He's not even on the sidelines.
Right.
Right. But like, how much different are we speaking today if Michigan's 2-2?
Oh yeah.
Going to this bye.
Big time. Yeah.
Now you can't lose until Ohio State.
Yeah.
And you lose to USC and you're 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you drop a Washington or something else. And now 7-5's on the table.
Right.
If you're 2-2 going into the bye. So
yeah. I mean, you never want to look at it like you have wiggle room, but yeah, that 2-loss marker now is like the prime, like the playoff good enough era. Like you can get in with 2 losses, and obviously you don't want to,
especially in the Big Ten conference,
right? You don't want to operate with the mindset like, oh, we have a loss in hand. It would have been different if they beat Oklahoma, then they'd have 2 losses in hand, but because you don't want to look at it that way. But I think 2 losses, like even if it's, whether it's the loss to USC and they beat Ohio State or they beat USC and lose to Ohio State, I still think 2 losses is good enough to get you in.
Oh yeah. I've been saying this all year. There's a path depending on what happens with other teams.
Right.
I firmly believe there's a path for a 9-3.
Oh yeah,
SEC team to get into the playoff.
Oh yeah, especially
they almost did it last year.
Yeah,
right.
Conference is extremely top heavy. I mean, Illinois is not good.
How good did Indiana look?
Indiana, I mean, again, how do they get away with not playing any good teams? Like they can't keep getting away with this. I mean, one of these days,
I want to hate Coach Spaghetti. I want to hate that man so much, but damn it.
It's that game is kind of one of those games where you kind of root for a meteor, but I was pretty chuffed to see Burt get his ass kicked by 50.
Yeah, Burt's another. You think this came up too? Like maybe they don't fire Fickle because of that buyout, but like, would Wisconsin and Burt consider Brett? I call him Burt. That'd be interesting. If Rich Rod can go back to West Virginia, right? Or like, I know things were ugly with the way Jim Leonard ended. Does Wisconsin say our bad? And hey, Jim Leonard says sorry for what I did, and they get back together. Like that's such an interesting dynamic there.
I mean, Burt probably has like.
Do they play Oregon? I know they play.
Indiana do they play Oregon
and Penn State?
Do they? Well, that'll be the real test.
I was with you. I didn't think.
I thought they missed out on all of those teams again.
I knew they played Penn. Yeah, they're at Oregon.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
that's after actually. So they've got next week. They're at Iowa, and then they have a bye, and then they're at Oregon.
Okay,
it's gonna be a fun.
All right. Well, I'll hold out judgment until that game, but yeah, that should be a good game.
Okay, but then we're back to like where they were last year, where they're 10-2, and they lost their only 2 big games.
Right.
But they dominate. I mean, look, they're 56-9. There's 73-0, 63-10 over Illinois. Like the worst thing about this is the worst part about conference expansion. I would be totally fine with playoff expansion if we had the regular 5 conferences. Because we just can't figure. It's just not fair, man.
Yeah,
we can't figure out the best teams. It's a mess. But okay, so expectations you haven't really changed. We're kind of in the same boat.
No, yeah, I think all things considered, I think they're right where we thought they would be 4 games into the year.
Yeah,
I obviously I said that they were going to beat Oklahoma and whatever, and that didn't work out. But other than that, I think they're right where we think they were going to be 4 games into the year. It's maybe
Bryce,
a little more advanced
numbers
in the passing game, but
I would say Bryce's numbers aren't where I thought they would be, but I I'm at least positive that, again, like the receivers are getting open and there's separation, and we got some drop issues. Like, this isn't like last year where I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have reasons to think they can figure it out. And I think Hansen coming along is going to be a big deal, like I said already, too. But
yeah, Hansen needs to be available. That's the thing.
Which I saw somebody, I think they meant Klein when they talked about, like, oh, why did he play against Central? We needed him, whatever. Hansen was fine. Sounds like he got hurt in practice again. So
yeah, it
is what it is. But all right, I do want to, because I missed it last week. I'm trying to find a better picture, or maybe it was the week before. I'm gonna go a little. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for here, but like this is probably cheating a little bit here for our Circuit City football neck of the week. Not picking a Michigan player, but I think this might be the greatest football neck of all time, and that is former NFL linebacker Takeo Spikes.
Oh yeah, that's impressive.
That's like, if I put football neck in the dictionary, that picture is right there.
What's wider, neck or the gap in his teeth?
That's so mean. You know what I love about that though? Him and Strahan, same situation. They got the money.
Yeah, they embrace it.
They totally embrace it, dude. Yeah. Like, probably wants a dude to make fun of him for it, just so he could go out there and Waterboy crush him. But
Strahan is awful on Good Morning America, by the way. Let me just say that. Yeah, he's awful.
You watching Good Morning America?
No, I listened to a podcast. Shout out the Drew Lane show, by the way. You know, maybe Mark Fellhauer will be watching this, but shout out to those guys. But I listen to them almost every day, and they play clips of Strahan, and he's just so soft. He's so soft now. It's
Good Morning America.
Yeah, I know, but like, you got your
like happy birthday to 80-year-olds.
Yeah, you got your sack because Brett Favre fell over for you. And now
screw that.
The whole world just caves to you because you're soft.
It would have been a sack anyway.
Earn it.
It's not his fault Brett Favre did that. And that's the worst thing Brett Favre's ever done.
Oh yeah, Brett Favre has never done it. Oh man.
Talk about a fall from grace. My God. I wasn't like a diehard Lions fan or anything when I was a kid because we had moved around so much. I liked watching Brett Favre play when I was a kid, and then it's like, oh man.
If I was a Brett Favre fan, I would have hated him. I would have hated the Brett Favre experience. Because you never know. Yeah, well, no, because you never know what he would do. Like,
yeah.
So unpredictable.
I think at one point he had the most touchdowns and interceptions.
Yeah, like that pick he had with the Vikings to lose. I think.
The NFC Championship game.
Yeah, like
dude.
What are you doing, Favre? Like, you idiot! And like, they would have won the Super Bowl that year. Like, they were that good.
Yeah, and it was so wild because like all year he had become like this different quarterback,
right.
And had Peterson and like was doing what was needed to win. I remember the radio call of that.
That's
like
funny.
At the moment you need him to not be a classic Brett Favre, he throws across his body and does like the one thing.
Yep.
I'm checking this. Yeah. Brett Favre, 336 interceptions. 3.3% of his passes.
Well, he won a Super Bowl. I'll give him that. Something the Lions haven't done. So, yeah.
It's so wild to me though, like the dudes that get into the NFL or into the Hall of Fame. Like Terry Bradshaw has 210 interceptions, 5.4% of his passes, it says, and I'm pretty sure 212 touchdowns.
Wow.
So he only completion percentage 51%. So like completed half his passes, had as many interceptions as touchdowns, and that's a Hall of Famer, blah blah blah, whatever.
It's just a different era of ball back then. Different era.
Now that man's good on TV. I love he's so funny, dude. Oh my God. All right. I think that's it. All right. We are going to have, even though it's a bye week, it's going to be a busy week. We have a lot of premium intel that's going to come out in terms of still numbers and stats and breaking down the Nebraska game and then kind of breaking down where Michigan is at this point in the season. So plenty of content available. Maize Blue review over on 3. If you're not a subscriber already, please make sure you join. You can give us a shot for $1. It's just $1 for the first week to check it out. Get on the message boards, talk to folks, see what you think. On this channel, on YouTube and podcasts, also going to be a very busy week. Dennis is going to be live with Good Afternoon Live, Michigan football. Me and Nick Costin, Big Boutros, in case you missed it, have launched another podcast. We're going to do the Victors Weekly. That'll be on Wednesdays. And I have a interview scheduled for this week. Former Michigan quarterback over at Crane and Company, David Cohn. He's going to come on. Him and I are going to have a conversation talking Michigan football. And if you're a music nerd, he has a country album out and he plays guitar. We're probably going to talk about guitar stuff because I love talking about guitar stuff. So.
That's news to me.
What?
That
I don't tell you. I do what I want.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, good for content.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Oh, here's what else we're doing, Josh. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have that up at some point. Brock. Oh, yeah. People have been really hammering on this, so we got to touch on this before we lot. Real quick, like, subscribe, notification bell, so you know when we go live. People really were mad at Brock for picking Nebraska. He needs to be more of a homer.
They were.
So I think he was actually, what was the score prediction? Because I feel like he had it kind of
23-21 Nebraska.
Okay.
I think it was like 2 points.
I had 28-17 Michigan.
Can't remember what I had. I think I had Michigan at 10.
And I feel like that's what it should have been because that Hail Mary was.
Yeah. We got through the whole podcast without even talking about it. Good for us.
What, the Hail Mary? Oh, yeah, we did. Let's talk.
Vaguely referenced.
Real quick. I think if you're going to be aggressive, you have to be aggressive all the time. Right? Like you can't turn it on or off because then you lose the benefit of the aggressiveness because you don't know when it was the right and when it was the wrong time. I brought up Dan Campbell on Twitter. People give him a ton of crap, but like he's consistent, right? He knows on second or third down, they're already having these conversations. If it's fourth and whatever, we're going for it. If it's this, we're like, it's instinctive at that point. There's no like, and that's been a big knock on Sherrone Moore with some of these fourth down calls and field goals, like talking to special teams. Hey, what do we do? But no. Like during the week, those decisions should already be made, right? At the end of the game there, to not call timeout and be aggressive. And I know Nebraska had been getting some big plays and that was like kind of the concern was like, do you want to give them more time or whatever? If you wanted to just go to half up the 7, fine, I guess. I'll give you that, not calling the timeouts. But then when Nebraska essentially forfeited and they ran the ball and then they called timeout and then they ran the ball again, they're forfeiting to you. Call timeout on that third down. They don't. Clock ticks down. Then this isn't even about aggressiveness anymore. On the third and long, they run it again. Now you have to call timeout to force them to punt. You have to, because if it's 38 seconds or 30, whatever it was, 20, I don't even remember. If it's anything more than a second, they're not throwing that Hail Mary because you can knock it down and get the ball at the 50. So that we can talk about like coaching differences in terms of whether I would have called timeout or not to try and get the ball back. But it was complete malpractice to let it get down to a second. And I know Biff, whatever high school coach, whatever, that paired with some of the things we've happened with Sherrone, dude, I don't know if it's got to be a 20-year-old kid that's really good at Madden or somebody that's already on staff or what. Harbaugh had issues with this for years until Matt Weiss. I hate saying his name, but until Matt Weiss showed up. And one of the big reasons he got a job was his analytical game planning for those kind of moments. Dude, you need somebody.
Right.
I'm glad it didn't cost them the game, but what a massive momentum swing. I'm tweeting, dude, get a stop here. You got 3 timeouts, go up 2 scores, and you get the ball at the half. Now this is a blowout, and now it's 0-0 at halftime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where not having your head coach hurts you too, because you don't have that line of contact, that person who has a feel of where your team is. And so, not having Sharon there in that situation hurts. There was some disconnect.
Has Sharon proved he would have made the right decision too?
Maybe. I don't know.
Good Lord, Derek.
But at the same time, though, the execution from the players on that Hail Mary was so bad that
they would have numbers is right. Will somebody stop the prevent defense thing?
Yeah.
I don't get it, man.
It's the players were too busy trying to pad their stats by getting an interception than focusing on batting the ball down, which they've been told 8 million times throughout their careers to do. The execution from the players was equally as bad as the getting there from the staff. So blame goes all around there.
There's been a lot of Tigers comments.
Oh,
yeah.
Makes me sick.
That's really frustrating.
Well, but they got a good farm system, though.
Great farm system.
Yeah.
My local West Michigan Whitecaps just won the Midwest League Championship. Won both halves of their division.
Maybe we'll see them in 5 years and make us forget all about this epic collapse.
In a weird way, as much fun as that run was last year, I kind of thought it at the time, and now it's obvious. It was bad because it gave Little Illich and Harris this like justification to be like, see, what we're doing is working. And here we are with the young core. Like, we don't need to go out and spend a bunch of money. Look, it's working.
Well, the start of the year reinforced that too.
But that's the problem, though. Javi Baez was never going to rake like that all year.
Right.
Spencer Torkelson, people didn't even think he was going to be on this team.
Yeah.
Like, remember Colt Keith at first base? They weren't even talking about Torque as a realistic option, right? Like, you luck your way into this production. You didn't I don't mind the Torres signing. Like, I think you can go out and get a bat like that, and that can be your middle, whatever. But like, if they don't pay Scooble this offseason,
trade him.
No.
Get something for him.
Oh, God.
No, I'm saying if you're not going to sign him. I'm just saying if you're not going to sign him, trade him. But
which I agree. I get what you're saying. Like, you can't not do one or the other, but yeah.
I mean, they didn't. They have their bullpen is just terrible. I mean, their pitching staff has been decimated by injuries, which fine.
I know. But then you go at the deadline and go get all guys with +5 ERAs. Like,
right. You bargain bin shop, and that's the kind of results you get at bargain bin prices. I mean, that's just what it is. They already designated Charlie Morton for assignment anyway, so what a waste.
Yeah, Morton got DFA. I saw that.
Yeah.
Cleveland's 9-1. Tigers are 1-9 in the last 10. Tigers had the best record in the AL at the time. Would 15.5? Would that literally be the worst collapse? Has any team lost a division lead bigger than that, I wonder?
The Phillies did.
And they were the first to 20, 30, 40, 50 wins. Like, they were.
Yeah, I think the Phillies blew like a 6.5 game lead or something like that. It's pretty bad. Either way, it's pretty bad.
15.5. That is
horrible.
Yeah, that's the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, wow. That shows how old that record is. Oh, no.
My grandpa was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, so when he came to the U.S., he lived in Brooklyn, and it's like all the cliches, skipping school to go to Emmett Field, and the players, Ebbets Field, not Emmett, sorry, and the players that he got to see in person, incredible. And then when they moved, his heart was broken, and he was this massive baseball fan, and he always said he could never root for the Dodgers. He could never root for the Dodgers again, so he basically spent his life hating the Yankees.
As one does.
Yeah, which I always told people, because I was a pretty passionate Red Sox fan for a long time. And then once they became like everybody's favorite team, it really wasn't fun anymore. I hate when that freaking happens. But like, I got Southie cousins from the mixed side, and then my grandpa just hated the Yankees. So I was like, oh. And I played shortstop and wore number 5. No ma. No, ma. See, I did it too, Dylan Raiola, but I grew out of it. I was 10 or 11 years old when I did.
Yeah, and you also weren't going to go pro either.
Oh, and if I would have tried to find a woman that looks just like Mia Hamm.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah. But anyway, the right before I think it was 88, the World Series they won. I can't remember the year now. I think it was 88, not 89. Anyway, they won that World Series at the end of the 80s, and he passed away like a year or two later. And my grandma told me the story later that he like told her he was going to go work on something, and she caught him watching the World Series and rooting for the Dodgers. That last World Series. So anytime I see Brooklyn Dodgers, I always think about that. Really cool. Sorry to get weird and sentimental there. Just anyway.
You have a soul. You just prove to everyone that you have a soul.
I just think that's really cool. You know, that's the old man thing, like act like a badass. Yeah, screw the Dodgers, but he was in the garage rooting for him, and he got that last World Series. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, those Yankees, Cowboys, Lakers, and Buckeyes fans. Don't forget Duke basketball.
Yeah.
Yep. So funny. But all right. Really long episode, hour 35. Viewership has been high. There are people smash the numbers. I see you, Derek. I see you, Rashad, Lauren, David. You guys have been in here the entire time. We appreciate you. I thank you. What are you guys doing? You got nothing else to do? You just hanging out with us? Really?
We appreciate that.
Yeah, Derek's in here making dick jokes.
As he always does. He always finds a way.
How do you know this? David, how do you know this? You're a man, you're 40.
I think he's referencing
I know what he's referencing, but me, because I was talking about. Are you talking about me? I turned 40 in 5 days.
He is so fired, by the way. Not you, him.
What?
Not you. Not you. No, what the hell's his name? I can't think of his name. Gundy. Gundy is so fired. Oh boy.
I forgot about this, but didn't they like try to fire him last year? Like,
yeah,
there was
he
report,
basically like refused.
And then he just like
refused. You can't fire me.
Yes or no, David? Victor's? Is this, do I know you somewhere else? Is that why this is happening? Yeah, 5 more days. I turned 40.
All right.
Pretty gross. So, it's not that big of a deal. I'm actually pretty stoked about it. I was thinking about, I was going to reenact that Gundy video. I thought that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, you might need to use a different color clothing because he's not going to be wearing orange for much longer. That's
is that a good job?
It could be.
Oh my God, he's 58 now.
Jeez.
He's 58 now.
Wow.
That was 18 years ago. That video.
I'm a man. I'm 58.
Wasn't that about Des Bryant?
No, it was about their quarterback or something like that.
That was one of the receivers.
I can't remember who I think it was their quarterback.
No.
Like some guy wrote like something in the paper and he got all pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Order.
It's just funny.
My guys, you come after me. I'm 40.
Change to a cowboy hat. I'd love to pull that off.
Yes, CBS announcers did apps. Brad and Gary.
Yes. Okay, so
dog crap.
Gary has retired. This is his last year. But oh my God.
Oh man.
A lot of people saw my tweet, I'm assuming, where I put up the 2 old men from the Muppets.
Oh,
that looked like a face mask. Are you guys joking me?
I used to get all sentimental because I used to think about the NCAA football games when I was growing up, and I'm like, oh yeah, Brad Nessler was the guy. It's like that was awesome. Like it's cool listening to him.
Nessler's got a good voice. He knows when the moment comes, he makes a great call. JJ's 47-yard touchdown pass against UNLV.
Yeah.
Like that's a pro in that moment to understand what just happened, you know? And Danielson every now and then will go to a replay and break down the way something happened and why a quarterback saw or did this. And you're like, damn, that's good analysis.
Right.
But then Barham comes out and they're like, oh, he's finally out there. He's even been in the game. The dude had 2 pressures and a sack on the first drive.
I know. And every tackle is a face mask.
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah, I made a joke. They were like playing the meow game from Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Whoever say face mask the most. And then Justice Haynes got face masked and they showed it on the replay and no comment about what that was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, dude, Keith Jackson. Yeah, legendary. Vince Scully, being able to fill in the gaps. The story, I mean, he never stopped talking during a game, and the stories and everything. It's just, we're really lucky to have Jason for Tigers games.
Yeah, I agree.
He's about as good as it gets now. So, but I'm a Rain Man. I don't know what you mean. I'm a Rain Man. He's giving me clues. I'll figure this out later. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry. Long show. Thank you. We'll be back. Are we going to do one next week? Bye week?
Maybe. Depends. Just see.
Yeah, we'll see how we feel.
See how the week goes.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Last week was a long week. But plenty of content available coming up between Dennis and the pods I mentioned before. And then, of course, over on the website and conversation happening in the den. We're talking a lot of Tigers over there, too. That thread has been bouncing. So if you do want to go over there and complain, it's happening. But Dustin Hoffman. Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, guys. That's been it. Michigan's 3-1. Justice Haynes is going to win the Heisman. Bryce, I'm just kidding. I was trying to see how much crazy shit I could say.
I mean, if he keeps doing what he's doing, I mean, he's might have an argument, but we'll see.
What would it take? 1,500 yards and what? 25.
Yeah, it would have to be like Blake Corum numbers.
Blake Corum
got hurt.
I think you have to assume he would have had enough. I mean, obviously Donovan Edwards has the 2 huge rushing touchdowns in that game. You have to assume healthy Blake is a factor in that Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And he probably wins the Heisman that year. Healthy Blake Corum probably does.
I'm convinced he wins the Heisman that year if he didn't get hurt.
Okay. All right, guys. That's it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. Hail to the podcast. Derek, keep going for another 30 minutes. It's funny.